Issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning and welcome to the Burning Issue. This is the Thursday edition. We are so grateful that you found time to tune in to 89.9 here in Lusaka and the surrounding areas. And remember, we are also live on our partner radio stations. We are live on Isunga FM, that is in Northern Province, and we are on 88.3, and of course live as well on Tuta FM 90.7, that is in Mansa, covering the rest of Luapula Province, on Spice FM in Kawe, equally covering the rest of Central Province, and not forgetting Copper Belt is equally well represented. We are live on iWave FM radio in Chingola, and that is on 90.1, covering the rest of the Copper Belt. So is Platinum Radio in Ndola on 99.7. All right, we are also live on our Facebook page. That's 5FM Radio Zambia. Please follow our conversation on there. Like the page, share it, and leave us a comment when it be. And later on in the course of the program, I'll give you a listener an opportunity to call in and interact with our guest. And I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. My guest today is Honourable Stephen Kampyongo. He is Member of Parliament for Shiwang'andu Constituency. And you may be also very much aware he is a former cabinet minister, held various portfolios, including that of Home Affairs. And other than that, he had major responsibilities. He was the National Youth Chairperson as well as the National Security Chairperson in the Patriotic Front. Honourable, it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the Burning Issue.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banda. It's indeed a pleasure to be here.
It's been a long time.
It's been indeed a long time. So really, it's a pleasure to be here. And very good morning to you and our dear listeners. Mitende kumanza kulwapula ntondo kuchalo cha Busaka. Mitende kuwe Copper Belt. I'm sure unamulera ndati nabo bali vale. Ne mitende kuitonta kushimaluwanga kuchimpeku. Chinsali nabale umfako kumulabasa wenu musumikeko kuchinsali. And let me just
Nakukatete mkwa. Eastern Province, yes. Katete FM is carrying us live. It's literally covering the rest of the Eastern Province.
Ziko mota kuponyerani mono ko acheva zimbuya hatu pongo zatu.
Indeed.
So thank you so much, Bonazaki. It's always a pleasure to be here.
To be here, yeah.
No, we haven't interacted for
quite some time, and I know that the bigger questions, the bigger questions out there right now, as the situation is how come we are not hearing of Honourable Kampyongo show his aspirations and maybe aspire as well to be one of those aspiring to be the leader of the Patriotic Front.
That's what you are.
These questions are so many out there on the street.
Right. That's what you want to start us to start with.
Let's start with that, and also let's get into the fact that now we have even a list of those aspiring to take over the leadership of Patriotic Front, and we are seeing excitement, and we want to understand how all this is going. I know it's a democracy, but at the end of the day, there will be a convention, there will be one person picked. At the end of the day, everybody will have to be one.
Correct. Yeah. So you were asking me why I'm not
aspiring.
Right. My response to that is that there can only be one leader at a time, and I think one of the challenges we have, mainly as politicians, as people that want to serve people, is what I see as lack of self-introspection, self-assessment. You understand? Yes, all of us have got, for me to be a member of parliament, for me to be in party leadership, as member of Central Committee, as a leader, I've got followers that believe so much in my leadership.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And therefore, you can't avoid to listen to people because they rate you differently, they
Right.
value you differently.
Right.
And so, why it's important, as much as it is someone's right to aspire to be anybody, including to be leader of this country, to be leader of a political party, it's also important to manage ambitions. Ambition management is very critical.
Right.
In the sense that you need to have what I call self-assessment. Okay? And you look at your preparation. How prepared are you? What is it that you want to do in saving people? What is motivating you? You understand? I was one of the youths that followed the President Sata, for example, when he was an old politician, accomplished, after saving other presidents, for so many years. And when he thought, okay, time had come for him to save at that level, he had this track record, traceable track record that everybody would refer to. And so even when we were running behind him as youths, you could see that value. And so you can say, when I'm saying ambition management,
right?
He had to come and start a party at that point. It doesn't mean he couldn't have even become president of the MMT. You understand?
Yeah.
So he had still people who thought he could be a leader. So so for me, some of those virtues are very key. Not that people haven't been asking. The way you're asking and men are asking, others were even going to the extent of saying, hey, come, if you don't have money, come, we pay for you. Yes, I appreciate. And I'm greatly, I extend my gratitude to those that
offering,
were offering to say that, they thought I could add value in terms of the top leadership. Yeah, but I didn't feel that this could be the right time for me. And for many reasons, I've had to deal with so many personal matters and so many issues that could have impaired my my judgment. So you need to be focused. You need. I have tried my best not to leave the people of Shiwang'andu have given me this privilege, and I've saved them for more. This is my third term of being a member of parliament continuously. That's something I don't take for granted. You've seen the turnover of members of parliament. Mostly it's one term. People have changed their mind and they go for another one. So when people trust you this long, it means there is a relationship that you have created between them. And so even them would want to say, oh, why don't you go for the bigger job? But I explained to them that, no, I don't feel I'm ready now. Because you see, you get just carried away by people saying, move, and you're not ready. It's usually disastrous. We've seen people hitting their chests of wanting to be president, and the easiest is to create a political party, which political party doesn't get to go anywhere. You understand? Yeah, because people are encouraged. So it's easier to just call yourself a president, to start a party and call yourself a president.
Right.
But so, Zach, in answering your question in short,
right,
I thought I could play a very different role even at this time. Not that those colleagues who are competing, I can't judge anyone. I'm sure they've assessed themselves and they feel they are ready but to compete. And I think in the history of intra-party politics in this country,
right,
it's interestingly and positively and believable that you can have so many candidates in the party that was in government and it is in opposition to compete. And so my simple caution to just all those of my colleagues who have staged themselves up the ones that expressed before President Lungu stepped back, and those that have stepped up now, is that they should understand that Patriotic Front as a party is a family of many members.
Right.
So even as they engage the party members for support, they must do that with sobriety. They must be sober. We want people to be sincere. It's not about what you have in your pocket that should influence the support from the members of the party. Mind you, beyond the party, there will be need for national support.
Yeah.
For national support.
Right.
So it's important that all those colleagues who fronted themselves and want to be leaders of the party to treat each other with mutual respect. Respect one another and understand that only that person who commands support, genuine support from the delegates that will form the conference, and beyond, you need to have national support as well, beyond the party support. So engage in genuineness, because I've said it's not about what you are giving, what you are tangling to people. How many can you give beyond the party members that you are going to attract? So you need to ensure that you engage in proper campaigns that are not divisive. Because at the end of the day, we shall only end up with one candidate.
Yeah.
And that's a candidate that we need to already behind.
Right.
We have had before this. I mean, we have seen some of us who have been in the party long enough. We have seen a lot of dynamics, and we are seeing what is at play. So
right.
my timely advice to my colleagues and comrades who have fronted themselves: we want people that should be sincere. We want people that offer credible leadership to the party membership. And at the end of the day, we shall only end up with one person.
But also that is dependent, Honourable, if at all the PF will even have the convention.
Well, that's another thing. I don't want to get into that, because anyone who is well-meaning PF must desire to see this happen. It should be the desire of any well-meaning PF.
But we all know that from where you stand as PF, you know that, for example, Honourable Chabinga doesn't mean well, if that's what's the case, if that is what is the case in terms of any well-meaning.
No, I'll get to that.
Right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that let me finish first dealing with the matters I was dealing with in terms of those that are campaigning.
Right.
And it's important. Yes, everybody has got a right to support a candidate on their choice. So for those that are supporting candidates, we also want you to be sober. Don't be so excited. Okay? This is no time for you to tear each other in camps and bombard each other. No. That's not the spirit of PF. All of you who are supporters of candidates, because sometimes there's that song they say, "Bwana tapata bantu akandiri omulomo." You understand? So our supporters sometimes get hot-headed and excited, and want to bombard each other and this, that, your candidate, this. How are you going to come back and heal in the event that your candidate doesn't make it? So you must leave room, for
because this is temporal.
Exactly. It's temporal. We have walked this road before. And that's why for me, Zach, even as I sit here, of course, I've got so many mixed emotions. This week, 2 days ago, we could have been celebrating Isio's birthday.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. He still wrote freezing in the morgue. away from his home country. And so this is not a better place to be. And that's why I'm making a plea for unity, because we must be alive. That, that's why sometimes it's also even part of why I wouldn't even want to jump in the race. Because I don't have a clear mind yet.
Right.
That's was another factor. So these two leaders, and these are the virtues that I want those colleagues who are vying for leadership to understand. President Michael Sata himself was a unifying factor who had a bigger heart. You understand?
Yeah.
He is a forgiving nature. He was compared to none. You understand? He was one person that people have given an example of how he embraced my other elder brother, the late
William Sanda.
May so rest in peace.
Yeah.
Who had the physical confrontation, and people never thought they would see one eye to eye, but they became very close. And so when I'm appealing to these colleagues that be sober, we won't tolerate you to tear this political party apart. That we won't do. And you must bear in mind that we want you to get to appreciate the virtues that our former leaders stood for. I'm saying President Michael Sata, he could demonstrate to us that, you can differ, but you can still get back together. It's the same thing with President ECL. When we identified and when we rallied behind him to take over from President Michael Sata, there were others who were competing against him, even then, for the same presidency. But when he emerged as leader of the Patriotic Front, he had to embrace all those that competed with him, and some of them made it to cabinet, his own cabinet. And that's what we want to see. So this should not be like, such a big battle, that should make people, and it's interesting. It's healthy. I mean, democracy requires competition as it is happening.
Right.
But there could be a downside of that competition if it's not managed properly. And that's why we're emphasizing the point that, look, all those that are contesting, including our acting president and the rest that are in the race, must understand one thing, that there will only be one winner emerging from this competition. And if that's the case, we must ensure that we treat each other with mutual respect. It's a right for everyone to support a candidate of their choice, but that they must do it in a manner that depicts a political family, which must not be divided. Yes, people have got different interests of why they are running behind candidates, but at the end of the day, we must come and say, yes, this is the one that we are going with, and all we need is to support. And that's how it should be. But otherwise, it's a very healthy competition that I've seen, and it's reshaping the democratic tenets of the democratic dynamics of this country.
Indeed.
You talked about the undesirable. Well, we keep appealing. I mean, for me, I believe in unit for common purpose. You talked about Comrade Chavinga. Comrade Chavinga is still a member of parliament for PF. Whatever he's doing, whatever he has decided to do and whatnot, he must appreciate that. What makes him Chavinga to be known for what is known is Patriotic Front. And Patriotic Front is a people's movement. So you need to have, the last time we were commemorating President Michael Sata's memorial, and I may so rest in peace, I was saying, let my colleague equally do an introspection. What is it that he would want to see? What is it that he would want to see? Is it the destruction of PF? Because destruction of PF is the people. PF is a movement. It's not just a name. It's not just a piece of paper. It's people. You understand? And so it's important to introspect and understand and appreciate that beyond our personal interests, there must be a bigger picture. Beyond our personal interests, there must be a bigger picture. And for those that want to think by destroying Patriotic Front, then they will increase their prospects. For example, if it's a ruling party to continue being in government, the biggest opposition, my brother, is people. It's people. That's the biggest opposition. It's not these little dynamics of politicking, outmaneuvering each other. No, it's beyond that. So it's more to do with how you manage the people's affairs that matter most. So the relevance of my colleague on which side he wants to be should be assessed. It's for what purpose? You understand? We have seen people. I mean, I've been around on politics. I've seen people that have betrayed their own movements only to end up to zero. There are a number of them. We can list them. Those that have betrayed their causes to try and chat their own personal agendas. They don't last. Believe me, they don't last. But it's important that we keep open hearts even in difficult circumstances, so that they can be reached. I mean, we had to get to engage our colleague Comrade Mao Sampai MP for Matero, and we started narrowing our differences, and you have seen him campaigning.
Have you tried the same on Chaminga? No.
I'm sure there could be the efforts that are being made, but I wouldn't want to give a wrong impression here, which is not backed. But I can speak for the other scenario, because there's been a lot of branding. You have seen him campaigning so that he can also compete in the meaning of conference. So you understand?
In the legal conference.
Well, properly called conference.
You keep calling it illegal as PF members.
No. If our colleague has said, okay, colleagues, yes, I don't think what was done was appropriate. Yes, emotionally, I thought I was, being disadvantaged. Right. So I wanted to put a quick one. Let's get back together and do the right thing. And must be committed. You have seen him going around campaigning just like other colleagues, and that's as it should be. So I think the door should not be closed, even for the possibility of engaging others that that could have remained there, because I know they equally know that their identity is PF.
Absolutely,
Comrade Ngona has been around in PF for so many years, and so he knows where his genuine political family is. So these are things that I think can be pursued. Now, but at the end of the day, I still want to emphasize to the supporters of the candidates that let's be sober, let's be brothers and sisters, even as we are supporting different candidates, because all these candidates are PF. So it's not about how much you write English on blogs, how you like tearing others on the blogs, that will make anything. No, mind you, the delegates are not even following some of those things that you are busy writing and telling each other about. So let's remain people identified as Patriotic Front.
Right. Let's move on to the next item. I have you here knowing the fact that you would be the best person to comment on the next issue that I'm bringing up, and this is the Chingola Chwempala incident. Why am I saying you would be the best person to make a comment? Because you were in the Patriotic Front, the National Youth Chairperson. You were also in charge of security at party level, but also you were a minister of Home Affairs. And everything that happened around there sits within the Home Affairs, and at party level, it's the fact that these who were involved are the youths. What would you describe the incident? How would you describe that incident? And how best can it be handled going forward?
Thank you so much, Zach, and thank you so much for posing that question. I cannot describe that incident as, first of all, regrettable, unfortunate, undesirable, and unlawful, and some conduct of lawlessness. And it must be condemned by any well-meaning Zambian.
Right.
And why I say so is that the attack on the presidency is basically an attack on the nation. Okay? The president is not only the president for UPND, he's a Republican president.
Right.
For all of us, as it stands.
Right.
So an attack like that must not be tolerated at all. However, it's also important to appreciate the dynamics that culminated into that situation. Was the situation avoidable? In my view, yes, it was. The situation could have been avoided.
How so?
In which way?
Yeah.
You know that when the president is moving to any particular area, that particular area must be combed, must be assessed in terms of security, and must be declared safe by the competent security personnel. That's why you hear of advanced parties,
Right.
those that go in advance to go and make sure that before the head of state visits an area, the area is properly combed. Now, I heard my colleague, as Peter Zulu was asking me last evening, and he was sharing with him that there was a statement from Mr. Masaka saying the president was not actually supposed to be in that area. It was not planned. So now, if it wasn't planned, who prevailed or who decided that they should take the president there? And that's where now the lapses start. Because whatever reason, be it political, that they could have advanced to convince the president to go into that area, was not properly assessed. Okay? And in those gatherings, normally you must have people that are part of the system who should trigger any undesirable behavior and movement and alert the system. So there were serious lapses there, and so and you have to be holistic in assessing that situation, because we're meant to believe that the president was going to meet the marketeers whose trading place, Chiwang'andu market, when was gutted. But there were also some elements that were even able to be seen by those that were sharing the event, of people complaining about was it road shedding, others talking about senseli, which is a mining activity. So there was a commingled of issues there that were at play. And so for me, the starting point is when that market was gutted and the other things were brewing. If you asked me, the first thing that should have been done is that after the inferno, the disaster management should have moved in under the vice president to go and get the assessments, to go and appreciate what could have been the cause of fire. And I remember one of the members of parliament raised this matter on the segment we call Urgent Matter Without Notice, Honourable Kangombe.
Yes.
Just I think a day it happened.
Right.
Yeah, but of course his matter was not admitted so that the executive could be given a chance to respond. So then you have the ministry responsible for trading places, which is the Ministry of Local Government, which could have also moved in so that before the president comes in, They would have dealt, they would have known what needed to be done. They would have, made assurances to the marketeers and on what to expect, so that the president would have just come to speak to say, look, these and these are going to be done, and in that order. But you had the other issues that were being raised at that place. And in as much as I don't follow so much of what this Comrade Mwewa does, the blogger, yeah, but if you see the way he built up to the atmosphere, he was speaking to atmosphere and interacted with a few people.
Yeah.
And as the meeting was unfolding, there was even a youth leader, I think a UPND youth leader, clad in UPND with a barret, who also took to the mic and announced something to do with sincerity. You understand? Like assuring his youth colleagues that today those issues we have been complaining about, we are going to be addressed. And you saw how it was hyped now, and the atmosphere was electric.
Yet this was not on the presidential agenda.
Correct. So I want you to understand the sequence of things, so that we zero down on who could take the blame. You understand?
Right.
So if those were eminent issues, again, there are people responsible for mining, and there are also members of parliament in that area who must have had a hands-on of what was obtaining, and these people should have moved in. There was no way you could have left that matter for the president to come and address on the podium. Okay, mind you, there have been other assurances before to the same small-scale miners, be it in Kitwe and in Chingola. So work should have been done. And I'm saying this, Zach, because you said I was National Youth Chairman, you said I was Home Affairs, and you know that those events in Chingola, and it's not the first time that we have had those disturbances in Chingola. You remember that between 2018 and 2020, had to go and camp there for more than a week as Minister of Home Affairs to try and restore order, to try and help maintain peace and tranquility in Chingola. It's a very dynamic place, Chingola, which requires wisdom in terms of dealing with the matters. Yes, like I said, lawlessness must be dealt with. But at the same time, there must be solutions being found to address the challenges. You understand? So, like I said, we had to camp in this so that we could fully understand the undercurrent issues which were obtaining there.
Right.
You have seen one of the video clips that keeps circulating, one of the meetings of engaging the community.
Yes.
You know, we were in a rural part of Chingola where people out of mob justice, they pounced on a police station, bent it, and attacked the police.
Yes.
So I had to go with the minister, the MP there, so that we could find a solution and get the security back into the community, because the same community now was complaining that, look, now we are vulnerable after they damaged the police which was there. So in engaging them, we learned a lot of things. You saw me talking to one odd man.
Yes. I remember that video which is going around.
Yeah, I was asking, I explained to them what they needed to do if they found that the police were not being helpful and were misconducting themselves, they were being disciplined, what they needed to follow to address that. I explained to them, and not to just test if they had listened. I was asking that, what do you need to do when you find that the police is found? Right? The old man says, no, we beat them. So you understand?
Yeah, and you call him out.
Yeah, I had to call him out because the response that came from the crowd, a few crowd of approval of what he said, could have prevented. Yeah, so I had to call him out and deal with it right there and then. Of course, I mean, the people are thinking, he was going to be arrested and whatnot. But I discussed with him, and it's in public knowledge. But it's just an example of what needs to be done to deal with a situation like that. You need serious engagement with people. There's issues there that have been raised. Okay? And it would appear to me that apart from the issues of the market, because pakuti market, if into fish market, people must have disposable income.
Yeah.
And most of those that were shouting the loudest and were basically just saying Sala, yala tupaya. That went apakwikata. And yet it would appear there are others, they are seeing others who could be in leadership, maybe benefiting from the same activities which the youth should benefit from. Bare mona bakala mbalimbe bare kompolamo. Parapalingira okusanga ba youth bare sende bare sanga obwikalo. In saying that, I equally don't agree with illegal mining that is not properly guided. You understand? We have had situations in Chingola, even in the past, where the frustrations of the youth would even take them to the actual mining operations of Konkola, where they would go to get copper from the pits. They blast before the dust settles, before the front end roaders start loading the copper or on the U-grids, they would drop into there. So all those are things that we had to address. You remember at one point, we had to deport a group of Chinese nationals. I have to mention this because it was a big issue. We were operating illegal smelters with Chingola, because we knew that they were the ones receiving the copper that was being stolen from the mining operations.
From KCM,
yeah.
Up to now, I think KCM still has those complaints. It still has those cases that there's a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. So you remember we did that at the time when there was a very senior political leader coming to Zambia from the Republic of China, but we had to explain those circumstances. So what I'm just saying here, Zach, is that there is need for those who are in leadership to do the right thing. That's what I'm saying. That situation could have been avoided if people would have gone in there to do the work they were supposed to do. So ndela ndanati wa youth bale leader ukwati for something. Now if we had, but we structured it in a way that they had cooperatives, they were given the licenses, which some of them have. But licenses, and they were guided on what to do. So what has happened now is what I don't know. What has happened now is what I don't know. And I find it very interesting that people would want to avoid dealing with the truth. Because now we show for Abazaki, entunguru shishila bepwa. Bakandile eba rufyanye ntungurushi nga bakateka. Mulibe yakuti mubalo ndorole bwino okutila ifi rubene kuno nifi. Pakwati you find the solutions. They would pay a blind eye to the real issues. No kwisalanda. I know I'm quite free for bwino nangu fiari fidia. Come on. How do you say fiari for bwino? Where stones are being thrown at the head of state?